is a special presentation of the Simulation Football League.
Back to pass. Looking for the football, and it is recovered by Orlando at the 17. And off goes to Johnny English, who breaks out of it. Still going, Johnny English, and English will score. Oh, left inside. Oh, what a catch! What a catch from Cooley! Broski gets the toss on a 3rd down and 2. Stretches it out to the right-hand side. Broski's got a huge amount of space. Broski 40. He's across midfield. 40. 1 minute. Zone, and that pass is caught by Aptek. Touchdown. That's Hecho. Oh, he made 3 people miss. Hecho breaks a tackle. He's done it again. Touchdown.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the SFL Season Preview Show. I'm Cameron Irvine, and we thank you for your patience in waiting on us to get all set and ready to go. That's what happens when you got 4 different cities and 3 different states involved in a production like this. Can everyone hear me? And hey, if my co-hosts have the SFL Network broadcasts on, please mute that so we don't get any echo. Can everyone hear me out there in the chat? And if so, we'll introduce our co-hosts and we'll be on our way. Excellent. No, we're all fine. It's just background noise from our analysts, which we're about to introduce right now. So from the Sioux Falls Sparrows, first of all, we have 3 owners with us tonight, and we're happy to have them along for the ride. The owner of the Sioux Falls Sparrows, Jason McGee, is with us. Jason, how you doing?
Doing all right. I'm ready to get this season started, that's for sure.
From the same division, the owner of the Cleveland Vipers, Ronnie Nickens, is with us. Ronnie, how's everything going with you? Happy New Year.
Everything's fine with me, and thank you. How's your New Year going, Cam?
It's going pretty good. Everything was going smooth today until I ran into a block of a wall of cars that seemed like it was never going to end.
Yeah.
I know there's one guy that can share my feelings on that. That's the owner of the Houston Hyenas, dealing with traffic that was probably worse than mine. Damon Simeon, how you doing, Damon?
Hey, I'm good. Just cock-a-locking, ready to rock.
Yeah, I should have I should have really made this a 7 Central thing, considering all of our big cities. But we're rolling ready to go, and I want to give a shout out to everyone before we begin. We have a lot to cover tonight as our season begins in 3 days. I want to give a shout out to everyone who's out there, but unfortunately, the Twitch chat is not loading all the names. But I know you're all out there, and you know how I like to give you all shout outs as much as I can. But thank you for being here live with us on the season preview show, and we're going to jump right into it, folks, because we got a lot going on. We got a lot of storylines to talk about here tonight, and we're going to try to make it as entertaining as possible. You're looking at, if you're watching on the SFL Network, you're looking at some of the newest pictures taken by the league office. Unfortunately, we were hoping to debut all of the new uniforms tonight. Unfortunately, just higher priorities, trying to get ready for the season to go. But you're seeing all of the rookies, over 70 of them across the league, and getting to see them in action for the first time. So if you're a player out there in the chat, watch out to see when your picture appears as we scroll through this evening. We're going to get right into it, though, guys, and really, I want to just go around the table, and I'll start with the veteran, the lone veteran on the panel, Ronnie Nickens, and what you're most excited about for this upcoming season.
I'm really excited about the new setup of 3 games going on at one time. I think that's going to bring a lot of interest to our league, and I think it's really a positive step forward. I'm also looking forward really just for the start of the season. For some reason the off season just seems like it never ends.
Yeah, tell me about it. It definitely feels like that from the league office, as I was telling y'all before we got on the air. Just the sheer amount of emails that go through the wire on a given day. Jason, Damon, you guys are brand new to the system, particularly Jason, because Damon was actually here for the championship game last year. But Jason, as a newbie going through that whole offseason process and signing some actual players, onto your team and having them a part of that, how was all that for you? And now, where does your excitement level sit with the season starting on Thursday?
Well, I'm really excited. It was tough during the off season because there was some sticky spots meeting some of the deadlines and having some of the guys in the drafts kind of get picked right before you're about to go up. But yeah, it's definitely exciting and excited about this season. I think. Well, it's going to be a healthier season for everybody, so I'm sure everyone's excited about that for the players, and obviously I want to see the Sparrows go to work this year. So it's one thing to be a fan, and another thing to be a player, a coach, or owner. So being so close to seeing a lot of the work come out there onto the field in a few days, that's the most exciting part by far.
Damon, you got a taste at the championship game, and Lou Wolfpack wants to know if you're a Texans fan. I'm sure you can educate him on if you are or not.
Little Wolfpack, how about them Cowboys? That's who I roll with.
Ouch. Oh.
Yeah. That's that.
Well, with that sentiment, and hopefully, no one can go 4-12 in this league, but hopefully no one goes 0-12, and we can
Don't say that.
we could just move on. Yeah, we could just move on from that. Well, we want to break down week one for you guys. Thursday night we've got Baltimore, DC on our other networks, which if you haven't checked it out, simulationfl.com, game day tab on the menu. You're going to be able to flip through different games, on each and every night of the SFL that you want to watch. Obviously, the main game with me on the call takes center stage, but we've got that set up for you to get your full SFL fix. But Tallahassee, Dallas plays Thursday night along with Cleveland and San Francisco. Sunday is Houston and Louisville, along with Oklahoma City, Santa Fe, and Carolina, Orlando. Monday night, we've got the battle for New York, NYC, and Queen City, Sioux Falls, and Minneapolis. So DeMont, I ask you, besides your game, which game are you most intrigued by on this opening week slate? Who do you want to see?
You got to go with the open night game. I mean, two powerhouses from the great conference that's Baltimore and DC. I think that's the game that everybody's looking forward to watch. I mean, because you got Dazo and you got Snyder with Baltimore, and then you got Zuli and Snowden from DC. Just waiting to see what both of those two teams are going to be able to put up. I think it's going to be a high scoring game. I don't know exactly what the defense is going to do, but I do expect a high scoring game for that game.
Ronnie, you get to start on opening night. Jason has to wait all the way till Monday, but you get to see your new squad in action, and they look good and they look sharp on the field, and Chris Davis gets to start his coaching career. But what else are you looking forward to here in week one?
I'm also excited for the Baltimore DC game, Cam. That's the premier game of this week, and I mean those are two of the classiest guys as far as knowing the ins and outs of simulation. I know DC, I believe, will be ready. Baltimore probably is pacing right now back and forth because this, this, that's gonna be a great game, I believe, and it's gonna be fun to watch.
Jason, your quick thoughts on Week 1?
Well, Baltimore and DC is definitely intriguing because you want to see where DC is at. Can they really do it again?
I guess I
And
picked the right game for opening night, huh? If everyone's excited about it.
but NYC and Queen City is going to be good too because you can't go wrong with watching Parquet Troll on a football field.
Yeah, that's gonna be a nice one, too.
Yeah.
Very true. So let's take a look at the teams around the league, and kind of spotlight some guys. First, we got to start with the defending champions, the DC Dragons. The playoff menace they were last year, knocking off Parquet Chol, the MVP, knocking off Louisville with that injury late to Overstreet. They're the defending champs. They brought everybody back into the fold. They've got two more rookies, Chris Braun, Joey Falcone at receiver and linebacker respectively. But otherwise, everyone is relatively the same. This time around, guys, how is this team? How best can you stop this team? I mean, they were only 5-3 in the regular season, and some say, hey, they got lucky. They made the playoffs because Honolulu, laid an egg there late in the season, and they squeaked in and they made the most of their opportunity. How this year will the Dragons be contained, or that you feel will be contained? And I want to start with Jason, the new coach there in that conference that's gonna see the Dragons at some point down the road.
Yeah, well, hats off to DC last year for sure. They fought hard and they earned that championship. And yeah, there were depleted rosters last season, and the Wolfpack lost Overstreet. And even though he came back in that game, he wasn't really himself, I think anybody could tell. But I, I think they have all their guys. I'm sure they have a similar system, and that they've been tweaking it to make it better. So I really don't see that they're going to have very much problems. I think they've gotten a little bit better with the adjustments that they've been making. So, but it's going to be a challenge. So because they're going to have a large target on their back for sure. And like I said earlier, they're going to be facing healthier teams this year.
Damon, Greg Corky at receiver, he was the hero of that championship game, as you might recall. And he moves up from a silver level to a gold tier. Zuli also moves up from a bronze to a silver. What is this adjustment by DC? Do you think what's the impact that it's going to have on defenses around the league? Is it going to make DC even more formidable, or do you think that maybe it takes a little bit away from what Richard Snowden was able to do late last year?
What I think is that a lot of these owners and coordinators is going to have to step their game up, especially on the defense side for the opposing team, because the guy Destro does his homework. The guy watches film, the guy studies the tape, and the guy make the adjustments that need to be made. If he wouldn't have made those adjustments that he made during that stretch for the playoff run, I don't see DC winning the championship.
Ronnie, is this the top offense? They got a silver quarterback, they got a gold running back, a gold receiver, two bronze receivers, a bronze tight end. They are stacked offensively. And if they're not the top offense, who do you think will be the top offense this year?
I'm gonna have to go with them as being the top number one because of who owns the team. The things his knowledge of 2K, his knowledge of how to put his team in position to win, and until he's knocked off the perch, I'm gonna let him keep that title as the best in the SFL.
The team that tried to knock him off the perch but couldn't, the Santa Fe Gorillas, is our next team to preview tonight. And it was a quiet off season for the runners-up. I was a little surprised when it happened that the Montero twins were moved down from gold to silver. That was an interesting wrinkle. Um, Dr. Were you surprised that Ramos sort of bailed on that two gold safety look after one season after it got him to the championship game?
Yeah, I was a little surprised about that one there because I thought that he would take the advantage of it, and go with the two safeties over the top. I mean, those guys they played outstanding last season, So I guess if it's not broke, why try to fix it?
Yeah, and also too, we got to mention that Daniel Garcia. He goes to Queen City. It's kind of shocking that they moved away from him. He was sort of a risk-reward player for them last year, but a pretty good Bronze Star quarterback. They put in Matt Wilson, who's the new Bronze, same type of guy, a lefty, but the Gorillas make that adjustment there. He's going to be throwing to Bosco and Mora, who are both golds, along with a gold corner. Very unusual to see a gold wide receiver, tight end, corner combo. They're the only team in the league that has it. Ronnie, what do you think about that type of combo? And from what we saw last year, having a bronze quarterback, throw to some of those big targets down the field.
Well, both of them were pretty good. That was a good duel to begin with uh, last season. I think he's trying to really up the ante for his team as far as being able to produce more points on the field. Uh, the problem, it may not be a problem, but I think it's going to be a problem. Garcia's not not there, and I really don't know if it's going to work out the way he plans for it to uh, playing for it to be in his mind.
Now,
I think that's going to backfire. I
now
feel.
you guys listening online don't know this, but Ronnie, are you wearing an SFL shirt right now? Can we describe what you've got on here? What's going on here? We got
Well,
some old school Dallas Stars look. I mean, I'm telling you,
yeah,
this looks sharp, man.
yeah, that's back when I had the Dallas Star. Well, I have my own equipment, so every now and then I make some.
There you go. There you go. So Ronnie's all over it with the nice looking shirt here off camera, so that looks good. Sorry, I had to ask you about it. Jason, TL Alvarado is the team's only linebacker, only star linebacker, and they had this look last year where they only had one star in the front seven, and really their secondary was where they brought home the bread, so to speak. But after seeing what happened to them last year late in the season, how teams started to maybe figure out how they could, put some points up on Santa Fe, can a team be successful with just one star in their front seven like this?
I certainly hope so because my Sparrows don't have any at all. If they have a good scheme set up, I think they can still get the job done. They're gonna let some big runs get by every now and then, things like that. But the main thing is getting a system in place that will at least minimize that from happening drive after drive for 4 quarters and stopping the team from getting in the end zone is the key there. And they've made it work in the past, so I think they'll be all right.
Next up is the Minneapolis Maulers, 1-7 last year. It still sounds very strange to say that the Maulers won the championship going undefeated, the only team that's ever done it, and then turns around, is decimated by injuries, just had a horrible, horrible season, and they just couldn't find it. Now they're back, fully healthy. Freeman Goodspeed goes back to wide receiver. Rocco Marconi is an early MVP candidate. I mean, they're just an interesting team from where they were to what they were last year to where they are now. Um, Jason and Ronnie are in this team's division, and I'm sure they're looking at Minneapolis, and Ronnie
Oh yeah.
knows what they were like when they were healthy.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Back a couple of years ago. Ronnie, can they find a healthy, balanced success this year with competition at an all-time high as it is?
I, I, I really think they can. Uh, T Pat does pretty good with his team. It was just unfortunate last year, the injuries and everything they caught up with this team. Um, but I'm pretty sure he got a system that he's got in place for him this year, and I believe they will make a return this year. Um,
Mhm.
we won't be looking at that 1-7 for them this year.
Goodspeed moves back to wide receiver, as I mentioned. Cooley and
Exactly.
yeah, they're a dynamic combo. Two silvers getting thrown the ball from Rocco Marconi, arguably the best quarterback in league history. Even when he was in a run heavy offense in Grand Rapids, Dr. does is this guy legitimately could be considered for an MVP? I know there's some gold quarterbacks out there, but I don't know, man. Marconi is just a totally different animal. He works so well in this offense.
Marconi is built for the SFL. I mean, what this guy did 2 seasons ago, as far as took his team undefeated and, I mean, was blowing people out. You know, that just goes to show what happens when you get into the film room, do your work, and you come prepared on Sundays with your lunch pail. you know.
Yeah.
Uh, but I do believe that. I mean, as far as last year, the injuries that happened to Minnesota with the key silver safety that went down. I mean, that was the leader of their defense. He went down, and Goodspeed went down. It really, really hurt Minnesota last year.
Yeah.
You can see it. You can see it. As far as what happened on the field.
And you can't take away too that Koma Kaleka returns their kicks. They moved him up to a gold. It's a gold safety back there returning kicks. That can be very dangerous in the punt and kick game, and we're going to get into some special teams conversations as well, especially with our next team coming up, which is Sioux Falls, and I want to discuss the Sparrows with Jason and all of his players. I've seen a few of his players in the chat room tonight. They're excited and ready to go, and Sioux Falls is they're an interesting team. They're in South Dakota. I mean, they I think you're probably in the smallest market in the league, and that
Oh yeah.
probably by default makes you the underdogs and people not looking at you. But how you see your team, is blank. How do you see the Sparrows and how do you see them building their success?
Um. Well, small market doesn't mean anything to me. It's probably just means to me that we have the best fans, or the loudest arena, or things like that.
There you
But
go. Liberty
uh,
Park's gonna be rocking.
yeah, exactly. I just think we have a good setup going in there. I think we have the right keys in here, and yeah, obviously special teams is definitely a huge thing for us. We know there's going to be some games that it's going to be a defensive fight, at least for this quarter or that quarter. And if you can win the field position in that quarter, that can put points on the board. That changes the game. So we'll see what happens with the special teams, but I'm excited about that.
Yeah, you're one of two teams with a star punter and a star kicker, and that we've never seen that here in the SFL. And you and Oklahoma City have taken that chance and have taken that risk and are looking for that balance. And I also should point out, watching tape on this team, first of all, Miles Portis. It says he's only 6'2",
Yes.
217, but this guy, he looks really good. What? How would you sort of break down Portis, and also too? I want to know a little bit more about. Uh, Correct me if I'm wrong, because I gotta work on these names. Zen Azika. Did I get that right?
Osaka.
Osaka.
Yeah.
Okay, he's been
But
he's been pretty good in training camp as well. So from testing and what you've seen on film on your end, who are those guys going to be sort of the guys that can surprise people?
oh, I think so. I think well, the idea was the way I set it up was I don't want anybody to be able to key in on this guy or that guy. I think we have to have a lot of depth and a lot of explosiveness. I like the three receivers we have, like Miles Portis. We have Kylie Kadila and Benny Beasley. Those are three guys that are going to be on the field at the same time, just flying around the place, and any of them could blow up the field at any point in time. And the same thing for the defense. We got Jace Jefferson he's a physical beast at that strong safety spot, and AJ all day at the free safety, of course, making a lot of plays for in training camp. And at cornerback, we went with three cornerbacks. We got Zen Osaka, as you said, Ethan King on the other side, making a lot of plays, and Delta Coakley in the slot. So it's we really got a lot of different players, but I think they're in a good position to make plays on offense and defense. So we'll see what happens. We're going to be tested right away. Like, here comes the Maulers, week 1.
Yeah. There's not many owners around the league that are looking at week 1 and saying, yeah, I can win that, no problem. There's some intense competition out there. How about Carolina? Let me just say, and it hasn't been said enough, what an outstanding job James Klein has done taking this team late in the offseason, transforming it, putting it into a. Can we get a round of applause for James Klein? I mean,
Oh, yeah.
just a fantastic job. He builds a coaching staff. Shan Varner, offensive coordinator, Andy Hamilton, defensive coordinator. He gets an identity. He gets his players in. He pays Johnny English the big contract. He just did so much in such a little time, and whether or not they win week 1 against Orlando remains to be seen. But an outstanding job by James Klein. That's got to be the best job in a short window by a new owner that I've seen. An incredible job getting that team ready to go and getting their rookies ready to go as well. This is a team last year that was the Honolulu Legends. They looked like they could make a championship run. They were 4-2. They had lost 2 very, very close games. Their defense was outstanding. Then things just sort of bottomed out. They lost their last 2 games to Orlando. That was unbelievable. Or they lost 2 of their last 3, I should say. They creamed Baltimore in that last game of the season. Then they lost their owner. They moved all the way across the country, and now run by Klein and company. So, Jason, Johnny English he got the fattest contract. He got $28 million, 4 seasons. They totally invested in this guy. They don't want to see him leave. They're investing their future into Johnny English, who's had a couple of pretty decent seasons when he was with Honolulu. I think he got over 1,000 yards last year. What do you think of that decision and that mindset to say, you know what, Johnny, teach me some English. Let's go. Let's do it.
Well, I like a team. I like any team that wants to be physical and run the ball. And so that I like that. I got a running back, and I'm hoping that he can do the same thing. But also, at the end of the day, you got to help him out. I think the chemistry between the quarterback Jamison Monroe and I don't want to butcher the name, Yu Aiba at wide receiver. That might be the most important thing as well. There are a lot of stud linebackers in the league that will challenge Varner at tight end, and the Skyhawks can't just rely on Caesar Cannon through the air. So they need Aiba to make some plays on the other side for them. And if they can do that, they'll keep defenses on their heels, and that'll make it even easier for English to teach everybody some English.
Great point. Great point by Lord Raider 77 in the chat too. Bobby Law, the steal of the offseason. He was like the second leading tackler last year for the Knights, and he just goes into free agency, and they scoop him right up, and they put him alongside Jeb Gatlin, and I mean, Jeb Gatlin has been a force, and
So Gatlin brothers are going to be a dynamite team.
And my apologies. I'm getting confused here, which doesn't happen usually to me. Bobby Law was signed. Help me out here, guys. Bobby Law was not signed by Carolina. No, they did pick him up, right?
Right.
Okay.
He's their inside linebacker.
All right. See, I'm just double I'm just second guessing myself. But yeah, with Gatlin, the Gatlin brothers, Fierro, who's at silver, Bobby Law, a bronze, easily one of the better bronze linebackers in the league. Ronnie, this team is, if they can get a good playbook, if they can get a good scheme going, is this the dark horse in that conference?
Is yes, it is, Cam. You know, I'm familiar with Johnny English.
Right, right. He was
I,
your back.
I brought him into the league, and I'm well aware of what he can do. Um, and a matter of fact, he was goal when I had him, and he's a hard runner. He will get you those hard yards. Um, but he's done a great job of assembling his team. Caesar Cannon, another guy that I've have no history with. Um, and to get those two Gatlins back together, if you remember, Cam, when they were brought into the league together, they were just a dynamite duo.
Yeah, and they were
So,
last year too when Jamie brought them together again.
right. So that's a good fit for the Skyhawks. They're gonna enjoy seeing those Gatlin brothers fly around there making plays.
Damon, who do you play in week 1 again?
Kentucky, Louisville, somebody like that. I don't know. No.
Don't be doing him like that. That's not right. That's not right. You know who it is. Look, the best team for the regular season last year, the Louisville Wolfpack. Ouch, man. That was not
Who are they
cool.
again?
Louisville. We play Louisville. Wolfpack.
7-1 last year. They lost their first game of the Knights. They won 7 straight. They got into the playoffs. They had the DC Dragons in the bag, and then it just football happened. But you know, we're talking about all these teams, all these storylines, and it's like, hey, does anybody remember that Louisville was like the team that was going to win the title, and it just sort of fell by the wayside after one bad quarter, and it's just. It's kind of surprising how they have sort of gone under the radar again. Like DC, they return all 10 of their players back. But to me, the big story is investing in the big boy, the gold defensive tackle, Rick O'Reilly, who
He's a
eats
beast, man.
everything.
He's the beast.
I'm pretty sure I saw him digging in the trash can the other night. The guy is just is unbelievable, and he's so athletic. Second ever Gold Star defensive tackle, because Ronnie, I believe you had Larry Henderson back in the day, right? As a
Yes, sir.
on the Stars, yeah. So, Damon, how much of a menace can a player like O'Reilly be to an offense?
I mean, we saw it in the in the champions in the conference championship game last season. Man, look what he did to Zuli those first 3 quarters of the game until Overstreet got hurt. This dude was putting Zuli on his back just about every time he stepped back and dropped.
Yeah.
I mean, you gotta watch out for this guy. I mean, it's like you have to bring in an extra blocker to help out because you got to double team this guy. For one, he's too big. Like you said, Cam, he's very athletic. The guy is tremendously strong. I think the guy was like in the world's strongest man competition or something like that some years back on ESPN. But yeah, I think week 1, man, Houston will have their work cut out for him. But hey, got to go to work.
6'6", 350. For those of you keeping
Wow.
track at home, 350
I'm sorry.
pounds.
I'm sorry, Cam. That's a grown ass man.
Cam,
What's up, Ronnie?
on top of that, he was able to add a tight end, D.D. Ryder. That rookie that I believe he's gonna make some noise. If he wasn't picked, if Louisville wouldn't have snatched him up, he definitely would have been a Viper.
Well,
But
and that brings me to my next point. And since you chimed in on Ritter, Ronnie, I'll ask Jason too. I mean, we're talking about this team as potentially one of, if not the favorite coming into the season. Who else on that team do you think is a just a ridiculous threat? To me, when I think about it, I think, hey, you can't sleep on Blaylock because he's pretty good for a bronze.
Cam, don't sleep on my man P Funk. I've always liked what Derek has, even when he was in the WAFL, these boys brought championships, and he brought them out of the WAFL into the SFL, and I'll be darned if they're not doing the same thing. A scary team, very scary.
Jason, do you have the funk?
Oh, wow. He was efficient. You can't deny it. So I mean, they're the dark horse, I think.
So now we move to another team in the Teal Conference, the Dallas Law, and if you have not seen, boy, you're in for a
Oh
treat.
man.
You're in for a treat if you just flip over to the other game. I'm sure we'll have some highlights of him during Baltimore and DC with the way that he's been playing. But if you haven't seen any of them in training camp, Mick Hardcastle is ridiculous.
Oh,
I don't know who ticked this guy off, but he is an angry runner, and one that I don't think we've ever seen. And I want to I there are other power backs in this league, and there are other backs who can do powerful things. They just don't look like Mick Hardcastle. What is going on in Dallas? Jason, I mean, I can't. What type of back is Anderson? Is he balanced or power?
He is definitely balanced.
Okay. So I mean, what is your take? What is your impression? Have you seen a lot of Mick Hardcastle? I'm sure Dr. has because he's in his conference, but I want to get your initial thoughts.
Yeah, I haven't seen as much as I'm sure the guys in the conference, but yeah, I don't want to see any of that. So, but I don't know how you bring guys like that down. I mean, it takes an army. You got to get to that guy before he gets going, and you can't be alone when you get there. So I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Dr. Just give me the lowdown. If Hardcastle was in an alley and you were on the other side of an alley, would you make it out?
I'll tell you one thing. My wife would actually divorce me that night because I would run.
Life insurance policy.
Exactly. Yo, this guy is Deacon Jones at the running back position. I mean, he's mean. He's nasty. He's brutal.
and a lot there.
I mean, he steps on you and spit on you and stuff. I mean, just no remorse for human nature at all. I mean, this guy is like the ultimate warrior. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
And he's a vet too. I mean, it's documented that he's an older guy.
yeah. I mean, this guy, man. I mean, he brings his lunch pail to work, man. I tell you, the guy does what he does. I mean, because he's so big. I mean, 6'2", 235. I'm glad I don't play them week one. So
Yeah, that
I'll take my chances with Overstreet
that
in
belongs
week
to
one.
that belongs to Frank there on Thursday night. But Ronnie, you've seen plenty of Parky Chul over the years, and you've seen plenty out of the
Too
elusive
much.
out of the elusive backs. As a coach, as a coordinator, and I know you've got a head coach this year, but how do you approach playing an elusive back like Parky Chol as opposed to playing the completely opposite in Mick Hardcastle? What do you think is a big key for defensive coaches around the league when they're going up against this guy?
Well, Cam, if he's as you have been saying that the things that he's done in training camp, then his team name fits him because and thank God they're in Dallas, so they don't have to go far to get the Texas Rangers because We're gonna have to call the law for this guy.
This team is not all about Hardcastle, but he gets a lot of the credit. You know, they picked up an old WAFL vet, Logan Ochenta Iocho, the Chad Ochocinco, if you will, of the league. And they've got some good pieces too. You can't sleep on. I mean, they got a gold quarterback, Murdoch Mock. And Bones Malone out there doing things at the linebacker spot. Jason, what besides Hardcastle, what do you see out of their team lineup?
Oh, like you said, Ochinte Ocho for sure. And not just because of the name, although that does make him stand out. But they just got a solid group of guys. This is going to be a crazy season because you look at this team, you look at that team, and everybody's got some kind of hook that's like, how are you going to stop that? And Hardcastle is one hell of a hook, but they got the guys around him to throw the football as well and really get things going.
Whose player is that crying as they run away from Mick Hardcastle? Where's that coming from?
Everybody.
Jason, is that your little one?
Yes, it is.
How old is your little one?
Just over 3 months now.
You know, that's a great thing about the SFL, isn't it, gentlemen? You can be you can be 17 or you can be 70 and anywhere in between and sometimes above and over depending upon who it is, and it just doesn't matter. This is how you bring your football dream to life, and this is what we're all about. So yeah, you let that little one keep Hardcastle out of the nightmares, will you?
Yeah. Do my best.
Hey, Cam.
Yeah.
Hardcastle reminds me of Spike from the Little Giants. I mean, just big kid, just stepping all over people. But go ahead.
Houston's up next, Amand, and this with all the conversation about Hardcastle and Santa Fe being in your division and stuff. I don't know that Houston's gotten their proper glory just yet, so to speak. But you've got a goal back, Darnell Black, who I'm sure with being in the same division as Pete Bruschi and Mick Hardcastle has a chip on his shoulder at this point, does he?
Oh, most definitely, because they're getting all the hype. They're getting all the the interviews and the publicity and all that stuff. So, I mean, he's a little, I'm not gonna say down about not getting any of the talked about or anything like that, but he's ready. Let's just say the man is ready.
You've got the number one pick, Kanye Rockefeller, on the team. You've got DJ Majesty, another big pickup, and one of a couple of teams or a few teams that has 3 wide receivers, and you got DR Sim. You got the DR Sim, and that is so. I think probably the most underrated thing about the offseason is that DR Sim is now a Houston Hyena because he single-handedly almost sent Baltimore to the semifinals last year. Is he playing that big of a role on the Hyenas with you?
Actually, in preseason, what I've seen, yes and no, and what I'm gonna say is look out for number 84, Josh Fett. This kid has been putting up some nice numbers. I mean, the defense has been not sleep on the guy, even though he's a bronze. Don't sleep on him. But yeah, DR is pretty pumped. He's happy to be back at home in Houston, playing for the Hyenas. So he's looking forward to this season.
Boy, we got the feds, we got the law, we got everything going on in that Western Division. Next up is the Oklahoma City Renegades. Will stay within the division. They're a big team. Skolander, a silver at receiver, Birmi, a bronze at receiver, Bovine, a gold at receiver. They're all big. In fact, Bovine is the smallest of the 3, I believe. Tall targets for Joseph Redfeather. Oklahoma City started to figure out the passing game last year. without Brewski. An interesting note and stat we were able to dig up. In the first 4 games, Red Feather 9 touchdowns, 14 interceptions. In the last 4 games, 6 touchdowns to just 2 interceptions. A drastic turnaround in Oklahoma City as their owner started to figure some things out. Um, you know, are we've talked about a couple of sleepers tonight. Are the Renegades a major sleeper, Ronnie? Do you feel?
They got the parts, Cam. Um, it's, I'm gonna have to see exactly if he gives Brewski back the reins of the team. I mean, because Brewski was the renegade,
Right.
and
Mhm.
but he got some big boys lining up for the ball to receive that ball now. So uh, I don't know. Is he gonna is Brewski gonna get the carries or is he gonna get less carries because he got the weapons to be successful.
Cam Michaels returning kicks this year for the Renegades. The first time OKC has ever had a star return kicks. A few other teams around the league now have return specialists, or at least stars back there returning kicks for those that went the 3 wide receiver route. Um, Jason, you're in that category of having a kick returner of some kind that's elevated, and you've got like Oklahoma City, you've got the kicker and the punter. Where do you see the value in special teams and why you invested that much into it?
Well, too many times you see a kick that should have went in and it doesn't go in, or you see a punt that gets whiffed. I think field position matters and it makes a difference. I mean, if the opposing offense has to get 20 more yards than normal, that's just that much harder on them, and it's that much easier on your offense. So field position thing is key, and definitely having a reliable kicker at the end of those games or at the end of that quarter or in overtime, it takes it takes a lot of pressure off of you and it makes you a lot less nervous. That's for sure.
The Baltimore Crabs, they are the regular season darlings and the postseason frustration. 0-3 in the postseason. They've fallen out of the first round each of their first 3 years in the league, but they always find a way to get there. Um, Damon, do you think that this is the year they take the next step? Demetrius out that going to a gold. It's pretty questionable if he can handle the gold load, so to speak, because he's had some trouble with drops over the years. Is this the year they take that step and they get to the semifinals, or is it another year in waiting for the Crabs? Do you think?
Healthy. If Baltimore can stay healthy, I can see Baltimore doing great this season. Um, D out that I mean the guy was under one of the best receivers in the league last season under Dr. And you're sitting there playing alongside the guy. Just look at Terrell Owens playing with Jerry Rice. Look what it done for him. So I can see D out that taking that leadership role at the wideout position and doing some great things for Baltimore.
They went with 2 free safeties this year, and Damon, I want to stay with you. What does that tell you about their strategy? What are they cooking up there in Baltimore? Because that's very unusual.
Repeat the question for me again. I'm sorry.
There are 2 free safeties. They're two
Hmm.
star free safeties. What does that tell you about their strategy? Because we haven't seen that. What are they trying to cook up out there?
I have no idea what they're trying to cook up. I just hope whatever TJ's doing, I hope it works out for him. I have no answer for that one. I'm sorry.
Well, we'll find out on Thursday. We won't have to wait long. We'll see how they handle Snowden, Zuli, and company in that big game on Thursday night. Queen City. Hey, does anyone remember the MVP last year? Does anyone remember how stupidly good this guy was? Park Hee Chol is back. This time just in bright green and black instead of in black, red, and gold. But they couple him now with Daniel Garcia, who comes in, and for the first time since season 2, the Corsairs organization has a gold quarterback coupled with Park Hee-chol. And actually, that's the first time in Hee-chol's, I want to say in the last 4 years, that Hee-chol has been coupled with a gold quarterback. Um, how do you see that working out? And is there such a thing as the winter curse? Because the Queen City organization is 0-2 trying to make the playoffs during the winter, 3-0 getting to the playoffs in the summer. But Jason, how do you think this is going to impact Hee-chol having some more weapons around him, but also maybe and probably deserving a more balanced attack there in Buffalo?
Well, I think he might not actually. I don't even want to say it because it's probably blasphemous, but he probably won't be the MVP this season just because of that fact. He has more weapons around them. It's a more complete offense, and when Garcia has a hot hand, Queen City might just roll with him. But Park Chol would take getting more third down conversions and more points any day of the week as opposed to maybe being the MVP. I think he'd rather waste that trophy at the end.
Ronnie, I've seen some good things out of Aquanta Shine, their rookie linebacker, but we've got a lot of rookies, and we've been showing them all night on the slideshow. 70 plus rookies. I want to say 76 rookies out there. That is an astonishing number. As Shine on cue pops right in on the screen. Which rookie are you most excited about seeing this year around the league? Not necessarily in Cleveland, although you've got some good ones. Stevie T. Diggs comes to mind. But who's out there that you just cannot wait to see hit the field?
Oh, Cam, I wish I could really give you an answer on that, but I really can't because I haven't seen anybody but my team.
I got you. I got you. Well, Dr. Have you seen some people? Who are you thrilled to see in week 1?
I'm thrilled to see Hardcastle. I mean, that's the guy I've had my eye on ever since I got the roster file. So, so I'm just waiting to see, is this guy going to come into the league and do what Park Chu has done for years in past, but do it in a different way, and that's bruising people. You know, I'm just waiting to see how that's going to work out for him.
Ronnie,
Darnell
you've got
Black,
a.
Houston,
What was that, Jason? I'm sorry.
and Darnell Black in Houston. I want to see what he does.
There you go, Dr. Jason giving you some love there.
I appreciate that, Jason.
Doesn't want Black to get forgotten. Ronnie's only seen his team, so let's talk about his team. The Cleveland Vipers. Ronnie takes a chance on Chris Davis and gives him the reins of the Vipers. They got a brand new stadium out there, beautiful, and you're hosting the championship this year. Congratulations! Obviously, that honor bestowed on you because of the great ownership that you've done in the past and your dedication to this league, and so we certainly appreciate you for that. But it's a new look, and you've put some pieces back, and you put Scott King back in the spotlight for you, and Caleb Wright takes a step back to hopefully find a little bit more balance. But it's Davis's show here, and how do you feel going into this season? With that and just trying to see if this team can improve and start to turn the corner again.
Well, you're well aware that Chris is a very confident person, so his confidence has have rubbed off on me. I'm confident that he's going to do a great job, and so this year he was given just really everything that he asked for. I tried to deliver for him. So I'm really excited for the team and what I have seen of the team. I'm very impressed with. I haven't seen it with his playbook yet. So Thursday is going to be the first day that I get to see my team under his leadership.
Yeah, we'll
And
see. We'll see what it's definitely one of the most intriguing storylines. Just seeing where the Vipers can go. Obviously, last year and the year before that have been a bit of a struggle. But when you had the Dallas Stars, they were a pretty decent team. They were a pretty forceful unit, and Scott King
very
was
explosive team there.
yeah,
Yes, we
Scott King was the head of that. So a King resurgence could be happening in Cleveland. You already got one King. You might as well get a second one in Scott King. Your opponent in Week 1, San Francisco. Uh, interesting, interesting case in San Francisco. They spent a lot of their off season waiting on a defensive coordinator to show up. Um, they
see
they
that.
eventually ended up promoting their offensive coordinator to head coach, and I mean, hats off to them. They got everything ready to go for Week 1 in a short time. But I find it hard to believe that San Francisco is going to be in tip-top shape coming into this Week 1 game against Cleveland. But San Francisco has this knack of beating teams that people just don't think they should beat. They've beaten Minneapolis. They beat D.C. last year. They beat Baltimore in the playoffs on the road, and they nearly won a championship.
They play pretty good defense.
Yeah, and have always been a pretty decent squad out there. Um, but now they're in a division with Baltimore, D.C., and NYC. Jason, do you see any way that this team makes a little bit of noise along the way, or is this the start of a rebuilding process for them?
They're gonna have to work really hard. That's for sure. They just need to chip away, see what's working, and get more of the same while scrapping the things that aren't doing them any favors. But obviously, I know they were waiting for some help, but you know hasn't exactly shown up. But it's going to be on them to make the right adjustments. They have a solid group of players, and they just have to get them on the field and get them together and increase their playmaking ability.
Yeah,
And
shout out to Dwayne Drew, who's in the chat. He's the new quarterback of San Francisco. So it'll be
absolutely.
interesting to see a new era there at QB. The Jasper Hart era has come to an end. He was there for a few seasons and had some relative success there with the Bulldogs. But Donald Miller is still kicking out there, and Miller is a pretty good force. So. And we should note this is the first time in Donald Miller's 6-season career that he's been with the same team for the second season. he had he had
Traveled around.
yeah 5 teams and 5 seasons, and finally he got picked up again. And nobody's more than happy to not have to call a U-Haul than Donald Miller. So hats off to him finding a home and trying to help Dwayne Drew out as a rookie. Tallahassee plays Mick Hardcastle and the Dallas Law in Week 1. The 14th team that we're previewing tonight, Orlando and NYC still to come. But strangely enough, Tallahassee, also like Santa Fe, decided to go in a different direction despite a pretty successful season. The leading sacker, Ebenezer Taylor of the league, they not only let him go, but no one else took him either. All of their Bronze Star unit are rookies. They're brand new players. Most of their defense is new, anchored by Adam Stackhouse, who spent his first 5 seasons with Oklahoma City, now in Tallahassee, giving the Pride some much-needed leadership. They were a team full of rookies last year, and he should provide a veteran presence. DR Tallahassee's in your conference, and it's sort of tough to gauge. I haven't seen as much of Tallahassee as I've seen maybe some other teams in this league, but is it a sophomore slump for the Pride, or is Tallahassee going to be just fine?
I think Tallahassee is going to be fine. I believe Tallahassee is pretty much going going to be a little bit better than what they were last year with the
Really?
key pieces that they added. Yeah, I mean, don't sleep on these guys, man. I mean, these teams, man, these owners know what they're doing now, and they're getting their teams prepared. At least of what I've seen, as as in the off season, as far as training camp wise, scrimmaging against these guys. Hey, close games.
When you look at Tallahassee, Ronnie, a team that had I thought could have made the championship game. They hung
Hmm.
with Santa Fe right there, back and forth all season long. Um, you look at their squad and what do you see that catches your eye? They're one of two teams now that has two tight ends. And they've got your former tight end Asante Dolman there. It's going to be interesting to see how they incorporate that. But where do you see this Pride group?
Well, I I think they're going to be a formidable opponent for who, whoever has to play them. Uh, I I think they're gonna be in the running to make this in to be in this playoff picture.
Yeah.
Uh, so all I- I'm gonna just have to say we better be prepared for
Frank is screaming about the Sahara Desert again in the chat. This Sahara Desert offense. Is anyone intrigued on what the heck he's talking about with this Sahara Desert offense? I'm so tired of listening to it. I just want to see their
them.
team play Thursday.
Does that mean that they're gonna run more?
That's what I'm thinking about. Is that I mean that's the only thing I can think of you're going to do in the Sahara Desert.
I lot of juice and to be rehabilitated. So it'd be like being out there in the Sahara Desert.
May,
Well,
may,
I tell you one thing. The Sahara Desert better be ready for the elephant's graveyard. I tell you that much.
well, I don't know. Are they gonna sign the water boy off the street? Is that I just
Shay.
I don't know what's going on, man. I just you got to see Thursday night. If Baltimore DC wasn't the game to open things up, Tallahassee Dallas would be a pretty good matchup as well. There's some good storylines in there. How about Orlando, guys? A team that made the playoffs 4 straight years. They've won a title. They also gave Minneapolis everything they could in that fourth championship game when the Maulers took it home. But Orlando had a rough year last year. And Ono Matsumoto's career is done. They also have a rookie quarterback, Connor Pyatt. But they still have Zach Parker. And you talk about underappreciated running backs with Brewski, Hardcastle, Heachel, Overstreet, guys that sort of suck up the headlines. Is Zach Parker one of those guys? Can
Yes,
Zach
he
Parker, a
is.
veteran of this year, will having a gold quarterback help him out? Will Orlando get back to the promised land ultimately? Ronnie, yay or nay there?
I'd say yes. The law firm of Wash and Wash gonna be doing their thing.
That's awesome.
And so I I'm always impressed with Orlando sometimes starts off slow. Hopefully this year they pick up the pace because that's
Hmm.
really been their problem is those slow starts because as the season go
Yeah.
on, this team just gets better and better. So um, pick up the pace of winning early, and I believe Orlando will be right where they want to be.
Our final team of the night, the NYC Sailors, who are owned by NY Kia, which many know on the YouTube. If you watch some good football breakdown videos, if you've ever seen NY Kia break down some Tampa 2 and some run and shoot, and he knows football, man. He he knows it. Now can he put it together on the simulation stage in New York City in that rigorous division with Baltimore and DC? That remains to be seen. They got a pretty good receiver, Sultan Muhammad. That's going to be a name that you're going to want to look out for. He's like LeBron James
He's gonna be a
incarnated,
beast.
yeah, in a football uniform. Jason, this team is built. I don't want to make it to sound negative because I'm not trying to sound negative, but it's an odd build. They've got a silver kicker, never seen that before. They've got a left guard and a left tackle, so clearly they're going to try to run the ball to the right side, right? Um, and they got a defensive
Exactly.
end on top of that, and it's just it's just a unique team. When you look at NYC, is it just one of those things where it's just like, wow, that's the wild card right there. What are they thinking?
Yeah. It's either gonna work or it's not, and I don't. You have to make use of the star players you get. There can be no excuse for a bad running game for the NYC Sailors now. Not when you have Riggs Hornish and Pork Chop Priestley on that offensive line, and then you got Sultan. He's gonna be a beast, and Steven Olenek at the other wide receiver spot. That's just two weapons through the air. You might have wanted more, but and then they only have one star cornerback on that defense
Yeah, that's
in
interesting.
Bentley Van Buren.
That
So
could
that
be the
offensive line,
downside.
yeah, that offensive line is filling up slots that could be very valuable for the Sailors and other places. So they have to show up. They have to show up on first down, second down, third down, fourth down, the instant replays, the halftime show, the post-game show, SFL prime time and Sports Center, and the late night show with Jimmy Fallon after that. They have to show up.
And Dr. Can a great scheme, help out a team that may not have stars at positions that you would normally see them? Because sometimes a great star lineup with a bad playbook can not work out too well, and vice versa. Do you think that it's a problem that maybe they don't have as many stars in key spots as most teams?
Yes, sir. I've only seen the run and shoot offense work in two places. Well, actually, in one city, and that's Houston, with the Oilers and with the University of Houston. Detroit, it didn't work. Atlanta, it didn't work. NYC is not going to work in the
Wow.
SFL. Um, but having key players in certain positions as what he has, I don't see it working. As far as those offensive linemen he has and the silver kicker. I mean, I just don't see because you're losing spots at skills positions and on defensive side of the ball. You know, I that's just not the way I would have went. You know.
I think that's where he's gonna be hurt at too on the defensive side. He's
Yeah.
not gonna be able to hold other teams down.
To look at our full
Mhm.
schedule and to break down team schedules, visit simulationfl.com and click the stats page. You'll be able to see everything your little SimHeart desires there, and we're trying to get work with DaxStats. Should be finished tomorrow with the final transactions. Just have about 9 or 10 players in the wrong spots, and we'll get them sorted out on the right squads. I also want to mention that Lord Raider 77 has kindly enough started up a new SFL message board that we'll have on our website shortly. But if you want to log in and become a part of the SFL growing community, it's simulationfl.proboards.com. And we're going to be talking about that a little more as the season wears on, as we start to get that integrated. I also want to let you know that we'll be having a couple of writers on simulationfl.com, do some blog posts throughout the season. And if you're interested in being a part of that and doing some writing work for the league, just for fun on the side, let us know. It's simulationfl@gmail.com. Plenty more to come with 3 days to go. All right, fellas. Um, can you guys still hear me? Okay.
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
we lost Jason for a minute. We're trying to get him back, but while we wait on him, we're going to start with our championship predictions. You cannot put your team in the championship game, um, and but we wanna know your prediction. Your two squads, one from each conference. Jason, did you make it back with us?
Yeah.
All right, good. And we want to hear it for all the world to hear. Who's going to be in the championship game? The pressure's on you first, Dr.
This is a tough one, man. This is a tough one for me. I would have to say, from experience in the Teal conference, I would have to go with with Louisville due to the changes that Santa Fe made and the addition upgrades that they could have made they didn't take advantage of. I would say Louisville coming out of the Teal Conference, and for the Gray Conference, you got to go with with the Super Bowl champs. I have to roll with DC one more time. I mean, DC has took advantage of the upgrades and did what they had to do during the offseason to make their team better. They had some key additions on the defensive side of the ball. So yeah, I'm looking forward to see what they're going to do. I'm still expecting Greg Corky to be the MVP.
I want to mention that in the last 4 championship games, there have been 7 different teams. Orlando OKC, then it was New York and San Francisco, then it was Orlando made it back and Minneapolis, and then it was DC and Santa Fe. So it is tough making it back for a second consecutive year. In fact, that's only been done one time in league history by New York in the first two, or I'm sorry, by Oklahoma City. They lost both, but they're the only team that's ever made it twice in a row. So very, very challenging to get back there. So the prediction of DR is that DC will get that achievement. How about you, Ronnie? What is your championship game prediction?
Well, Cam, I hate to sound like a tape recorder, but that was my prediction also. It's going to be the first year that we're going to have a repeat champion.
Wow.
Wow.
DC Dragons and the Louisville Wolfpack, but I see DC going to edge them out.
Yeah, I should ask DR who wins in your matchup.
You would ask that question.
Hey, Ronnie put the pressure on you, not me.
I'll take DC. Close game, 27-24.
It's just that Jermaine is such a 2K a 2K genius that I would not bet against him, and I believe he's going to be the first to repeat.
Jason, are you bucking the Dragon trend here, or are you also do you also consider the Dragons to be the team that has the best shot?
You know what? Let's go a different direction. I think I like actually that what Santa Fe did with moving the Monteros down to silver. I think it makes their offense more explosive, and I think that's a good move.
Good point.
It will. I think it'll change people's minds. It looks bad, but I think it'll be good. So I got them in the teal, and for Gray Conference, you don't go 10-0 by accident. The Maulers, they didn't accidentally run the table 2 seasons ago. They're that good. So I got the Maulers, and I think Santa Fe is going back. And I'd give the Maulers the edge just because you need to run the football and you need to stop the run. And I think in that matchup, the Maulers could do it better.
Well, if you can beat Minneapolis in week 1, we'll just pencil you right in there for that championship
There you
go. I see what you did there, Jason. You setting up the hype for Sioux Falls in week 1. No, that's fantastic, guys. Thank you so much tonight for your analysis, and thanks to all of those of you who were here. Most of you stuck around through the whole thing, so we appreciate that, and we are so energized and excited to get this season going. Thursday night, you got 3 games right off the bat. In previous seasons, you had to wait all week for 3 games.
Excitement is building.
Yeah, it is, and we got 3 games Thursday, 3 games Sunday, 2 games Monday, and then we do it all over again 2 days later. We've got it set up for quite the show. Thanks for being with us all off season. For those of you who have been with us through all 10 episodes of the SFL updates, it's been an incredible journey. When I set up the SFL updates to be live on Twitch, I didn't know what I was getting myself into, but you know what? We're definitely going to be doing it again when the off season comes around. But forget the off season. Who cares about the off season? It's time for season 6, the biggest and best season yet to come. make sure that you tell your friends and make sure that you are here Thursday, 7 p.m. Central. Hell, just get here earlier. I'll be here. I took the day off from work for crying out loud, just to have the whole day to get things going. So we'll be here, and who knows if we have enough time, we'll even re-show the SFL Championship game before kickoff to get everybody fired up from last year. That fantastic game between the Dragons and the Gorillas. But it's been a fun time tonight, guys. Final thoughts, maybe something that you didn't get a chance to talk about, or anything that's on your mind here in the last bit of analysis before we kick things off in the nation's capital on Thursday.
Anybody?
Oh,
Y'all go first.
Okay,
uh,
I say it's gonna be. This is probably gonna be our best season yet, and I'm looking forward to it. I want to say congratulations to all of the new rookies. It's gonna be a whole lot to write about, a lot to talk about. It's gonna be a great year, and I'm really excited to see the new owners how they perform, what their team, um, how their teams work. It's going to be a great year for the SFL, and we want to say thank you again, Cam, for such a great job.
Appreciate that, Jason. You had something.
yeah, and thanks, Cam, and thanks everybody for coming out. And I'm just excited to be a part of it, bring the Sparrows into it, and just be a part of the special league because it's freaking awesome. So thanks, guys.
Dr. I know you and will probably get together at some point during the season and call a game or two. We hope that's in the cards, and we hope that Greg will be along for the full slate, and I know Mike will be along for the full slate. But hey, you and me, buddy, we're ready to see what Houston can do, and we're ready to go.
Yeah, the beauty of that is that my wife asked, the other day, she was like, "Hey, when are you going back to San Antonio?" I say, "In a few weeks." But yeah, hey man, I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to the drive down to meet up with you again, the broadcast. I can't wait for the season to start, man. I mean, 3 more days we got, ready to kick this thing off. I'm just happy for the votes, able to get into this year. Didn't make it in last season when I applied, but hey, I kept the faith. But that's pretty much it, man. Just ready for this season. I think it's going to be the best season yet, Cam. I mean, with all the new additions to the season, I mean, you've done a great job. I think you're the best commissioner ever in all sports.
Thank you.
I mean, I mean, just what you have done in such a small amount of time says a lot about your the dream you have for this league and the passion you have that's behind it as well. I'm extremely happy to be a part of it. That's it.
Well, I'm happy to have all of you along for the ride, and I sure hope everyone packs the place on Thursday night. Nothing would bring a smile to my face more than seeing us break a viewership record. Who knows what we can do? But
Mhm.
it's going to be a fun night. It's probably not going to be as fun of a night for Baltimore and DC because they're going to be trying to, well, and for the other four owners as well, including Ronnie, trying to watch their team and study them and be a little bit more on edge than everybody else who's just sitting back and relaxing. But it's here, all the hard work, all the dedication by and make no mistake about it that this league doesn't exist without the hardworking owners, and its production value doesn't continue to go up without the hardworking owners, learning things along the way and putting a better product out there on the field. So, um, it's a team effort, and it's all come to this, and it's all boiled down to Thursday night at 7 o'clock, and we hope that you all are here and many more are here for that kickoff. So please spread the word to anyone that you know and are associated with. It's not just a video game, fellas. It's a culture, it's a brand, and it's a whole heck of a lot of fun. So we're ready to go for Jason McGee, Ronnie Nickens, Damon Simeon, the rest of the SFL owners and staff that are now approaching 30. And for all the players out there getting to play your first game, we have over now 50 rookies that are users, quote unquote, that applied through our Be the Player system. We've got plenty of owners who have applied since expansion 2 that are just waiting in the wings. Thank you to all of you who have been a part of this and stayed with us, and we are so ready to see if the Dragons can defend their title against the Baltimore Crabs in a rivalry that's never taken place. It'll be the first meeting between the two teams. In fact, in all of the main games in Week 1, it'll be the first meeting between the two teams, and we can't wait to see what the Dragons and Crabs rivalry becomes. And I even had, I want to share a quick story with you. I even had a guy on Facebook or on YouTube, and I don't even know if he's here tonight, but he said, hey, you guys got to expand by 4 more teams again because this league's better than the NFL, and there's not enough teams in this league. And I just had to shrug my shoulders, and I'm just like, yeah, we got to get through this season first and see where we're at. But it's only because of all your support. This has been a presentation of the Simulation Football League, and I will get out of my lethargic, regular speaking voice that I've had for the last 12 weeks of this offseason, and we'll get revved up and ready to go back to do it all over again here in just 3 days. I hope everyone has a great night, and we'll see you on Thursday. Thanks to our analysts for being here.
Thursday.
Lego.
The following is a special presentation of the Simulation Football League.
Back to pass. Looking, fumbling the football, and it is recovered by Orlando at the 17. And off goes to Johnny English, who breaks out of it. Still going, Johnny English, and English will score. Oh man, on the left-hand side. Oh, what a catch! What a catch from Cooley! Bruschi gets the toss on a 3rd down and 2. Stretches it out to the right-hand side. Bruschi's got a huge amount of space. Bruschi 40. He's crossed midfield.